Welcome everyone. Today's video finds us over here in Augusta Emerita, or modern day Mérida, Spain. And what we're going to take a look at is one of the most important towns from the Roman Empire from whenever they were here in Spain. And this was a city that was founded originally in 25 BC by Scorpio Africanus after they came in and they won the battles here against the Carthaginians. And this was where some of the I guess the old soldiers, the ones who were injured and everything, they were allowed to settle here, and they founded this city in 25 BC. And later on, it grew. There was a lot of ore trade and everything else. So this was like the capital of Lusitania here in the Iberian Peninsula. So anyway, we're going to look around. There's ruins all through here. There used to be a whole lot more, but they were a lot of the materials were tore down and used, especially by the Moors whenever they built a lot of their buildings. So anyway, what is still here is a real treat. This is UNESCO World Heritage Site. So we're going to really enjoy the day today. All right, let's see what we see. This is the first site that we're going to take a look at. This is the aqueduct, and it was 23 meters tall, and you can see a little bit of it up there where the water channel would have been. This itself is a feat of engineering. The Romans didn't mess around whenever they did stuff like this. So they built these aqueducts to bring fresh water into the towns, and there would have been a nearby lake or stream that they would have used to bring this in. And it would have been a lot longer than it is now. Like I said, they did a lot of dismantling here to use these materials. You know, this was all derelict, so the people that were living here at the time, they would have been like, hey, there's some bricks, so let's use it. They weren't thinking about us in the 21st century to be able to come over here and look at this. You can see the size of the stones they used. And then they would have built like a wooden scaffolding, and they would have built these arches. And then they would have done a series of arches up to the top. Just unbelievable, 23 meters tall. And you can see up there past those trees, there's more columns where it would have came down into the town. And then they have this little building right here. I'm not sure what the function of this was. I don't know if they would have taken water here and then rerouted it somewhere else. But it's kind of a cool little building. It's round, has these little arches, and has a little water channel. Yeah, you can just see it's a little domed building, and it had 4 little columns there, and then this little arch here was like a water channel. And I'm not sure exactly what they did with this. Yeah, but you can see it right there. Really quite cool. And then right over there is a modern bridge and a little stream and stuff, and then the modern town. But all of the Roman ruins are this way. So let's go walk around and let's look at all of this. It's going to be tough to top this aqueduct. Really, really cool. You can see the more complete part over there. And then they have some modern day railroad tracks that go right down through the middle, and then some more of these columns. And what's cool is it just goes off into the town. You can see some more of the columns down in there. And what we have over here, this is some old crypts that'll be in the floor of the basilica. And you can see here they're excavating right now. So this is all cordoned off. You can't go over this part. But we'll see if we can go into the church and see what it looks like. This is the Templo Jubilar Basilica de Santa Eulida, or something like that. Yeah, really a nice little church. You can see the bell tower over here. And then they have looks like a little shrine right here in front. People have left the candles and stuff. And you have maybe Virgin Mary or something. You see what they're doing here to try to support these old walls. Yeah, they're doing a lot of renovation here. Looks like we have a service going on in here. We'll try to come back in here in a minute when they finish. Looks like the crypt is back over here on the back side. I think it goes back to 1612 is what a little data plate said. There's nothing here in English, only in Spanish. Okay, so this is a pay site, so it's €6 just to go into this one, or if you want the multi-package, it's €17. Some of the artifacts in here. So everything is in Spanish. There's not anything in here in English. they talk about the cathedral and some of the dig sites. And this is open until 6:30 in the evening. And then this is down into the crypts. I've never been into a crypt before, so this is kind of cool. So this is all underneath the cathedral. So you can see they have the columns. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. So there's one of the coffins, and all the parishioners would have been buried down in here. And we can look right up into the cathedral from here. And so they're doing excavation outside also, so there's more bodies other than just these right here. And you can see all the brick and everything. And it looks like over here had like an arch, so there would have been a walkway down below there with probably little antechambers to the side. And you can see how far it is below grade and some of the stuff they've dug up. And you can see that one there. Looks like it would have been a little chamber also. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, you can see it would have been a little labyrinth down here. And over there they have murals and stuff painted on the front of that one crypt. Yeah, you can see the top of, looks like maybe a coffin. There's a open coffin over there. And then you can see into that crypt. That crypt is the best one down here, and this is as close as we can get to it. All right, so this is pretty cool. Let's go on to our next little place here. All right, the crypt was pretty nice, but it wouldn't be worth €6 to go in and see. Now, they also have a sign up saying it's €2 to go into the little church here. Oh, now it's locked up, so we won't be able to see that. They must have just finished their mass and everybody left. All right, so let's go to our next site. Yeah, pretty nice look at this little church here. All right, so now let's go to the Roman Circus. It's about 700 meters away. All right, and I think what all this is over here is another aqueduct. The Aqueduct San Lumis, and this would have been the terminus of it. It would have ended right here. So they have a mock-up over here of what this would have looked like. It would have been 417 meters long and would have held 30,000 spectators. They have a little bit of data plates and stuff like that in here, but everything is in Spanish. And this is part of the pay site. You can use it as one of the 16 or the 17 euro. So you can see where we are. We're way up here. This was the crypts over here. And we're going to make our way over here to the Temple of Diane and all of these. So the ones that are red are pay sites. This itself is just €6. And this would have been the entrance. Just absolutely colossal. You can see all the stone that they used. So here they say it was 433 meters long. And this is one of the best preserved sites on the Iberian Peninsula. Now in the 17th century, they grew barley in here. And then they started doing excavations here in like 1919. So this is absolutely amazing. So if you could imagine, they would have been running around here in circles. So this is basically NASCAR in the old days. They had stuff in the middle, and then all the people could watch it all around here. So 30,000 people in here screaming would have been really something to see. Now this city over here, this Augusta Emerita, was as modern as Rome. It had everything that Rome would have had, just on a much smaller scale. It was a modern city over here in Spain. It was very, very important. Yeah, this is just amazing. Just hauling in all these stones and then building this little field here would have been cool. Yeah, so you can see how it was constructed. So they used the big stone down on the bottom, and then they had the smaller ones over there, and then they used this like as the cement and put in the little stones to finish it off. And then They've had those humongous columns sticking up here in the middle with all the flags waving and everything else. And then over here looks like these would have been some little arches. So probably the VIPs would have been sitting under here in some shade. Yeah, so the columns will be down below the grade and the rest of it. So this is quite a bit higher than it would have been back when this was built. You can see the back side of it here. So they had these little buttresses on the outside to kind of stabilize them, I think. Yeah, really cool. And down here you can see how they have dug down below the grade. So those are all the stones they used at the base of this. And then just the gravel and concrete up on the top. And this is up here on top of this. You can see the arches and everything down here. Yeah, really an amazing place. Yeah, so they have a little platform you can actually see the whole thing here. So the center was the divider of the circus. There was these pools over here and way over there that symbolized the ocean. And there was an obelisk in the middle that represent the sun at dusk. And then they had the starting and the stop point. So there was the like little poles sticking up, and one of them would be the start, one of them would be the stop. Yeah, really cool. All right, so our next stop, we'll walk into the town and we'll see some more things here. Check that out over there. So the aqueduct came right here, and just unbelievable. Okay, so we're going over to the Casa del Anfiteatro or something like that. That'll be our next little stop here. Okay, so this casa is €5 to get in, or part of the package it's 17 for the whole tour. So there's quite a bit to this place. So right here is where the water came down, and they used that right over there to collect the sediment. And then this is part of the defensive wall. And then the water would have flown right down here. And check out that fantastic lion's head right there. Oh, I like that. And then other places right over here. Oh, we got a cat over there cleaning, doing some things. But there were several rooms here, and they all had these mosaics. There's just a little bit of the mosaic that you can see right there, and the same over here. And they had private bathrooms. They had everything here at this house. Oh, that is cool. And then you can see how they painted the walls. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh, I like that. So you're looking into 2,000 years ago, how these people lived here. And those bricks, just see how much they've wore right there. Oh, just really amazing. And you can see that lion's head in the arch. So that was part of the defensive fortifications, actually. So the lion's head was right above it, so it would have spewed water. It would have looked like a fountain, but it would have hid the arch so that enemies wouldn't have known it was there. Yeah, there's quite a bit here. It's kind of amazing that this was only discovered in 1947. So over here, these are the private baths. They think this is part of another house that wasn't excavated yet. And they actually say that there would be larger than this that they haven't excavated back over in here either. You have those houses there. But they would have had cold water, hot water, steam. Yeah, it would have been fantastic. So the steam would have came right here. So they would have had some wood. They would have burned the wood and heated the water up. And then you would have set up here and got the steam bath. That is cool. And then right over here, this would have been the central patio. So you see these columns? It would have been open right above it, and they would have had the flowers. And then you would have walked around right here. And how beautiful would this have been? Look at the mosaics here around the central patio. Oh, just unbelievable. Now this is exciting to me, seeing this right here. So this was probably, at the height, was probably like 200 AD. You see all those mosaics over there. And you see over there some more of the houses and stuff like that. But what an example, or a beautiful example of Roman architecture here. So they say these mosaics and this little compound right here is some of the best preserved in the old city. And so right here is the old kitchen where they had made their bread and did all of their things right there. And there would have been an altar in here also. They would have had the deities that they would have worshipped in there. Give thanks to the food, I guess. Yeah, I can't get over the mosaics. What a really amazing pattern in there. I just like that a lot. And then you can see over here more of the houses and everything. Just unbelievably amazing. So check out this mosaic. So these are 3 men crushing grapes at a wine press. Just absolutely beautiful. You have the vines growing all around. Then you have the geometric pattern. And then you have Venus and Cupid in here. Oh, that's really, really cool. You have another little courtyard here with more mosaics. Yeah, lots to see here. This is really something else. And I'm sure there's more mosaics. I think they cover them up with that sand to protect them certain parts of the year. Yeah, you can see more and more of these mosaics. I've never seen this many mosaics in one place before in my life. This is a real treat. Yeah, so they're doing something, I guess. You can see a little bit of the original floor there, and then they filled that in with the sand is what they've done. You can see some of the old tiles there. And then check out the brick. So you have little cat prints or dog prints there in the brick. So even in the old days, the little furry critters got in there and left their mark. So they put this glass wall or glass floor over it, so you can see all the little figures under there, fish and all kinds of things. And the colors are still amazing. And then some of the walls here that would have had all the paintings on the sides of them also. And a little bit more of the frescoes over here. Okay, so let's go up into the amphitheater now. And over here you have some of the burial sites. Roman law prohibited burying bodies inside of enclosures, so they buried them out here next to like landfills and stuff like that. And here's another little grave site. You can see the steps, they would have been painted. So they found 8 graves in here, and they found 5 different bodies, 4 females and 1 male, all between 18 and 40. And this was abandoned, and then they used pieces of this building to build other houses and stuff like that. They kind of scavenged all the pieces. And you can see they have it covered to keep the weather off of it. And this is a huge site, and it's just nestled in here amongst the modern buildings. Yeah, there's 2 sites right here next to each other. There's that house, and then over here is the entrance to the amphitheater. All right, so here's the Teatro y Anfiteatro. And we'll go in here. Okay, so it's €13 just for this site. So the €17 really pays off because you get to see all these other things also. So there's 2 things kind of in here together. So you can see all of the site over there. So that's that big amphitheater, and then the other part of it is over here. So the house is right next to it, so this would have been a very affluent area to have all those murals and everything, and then be right near the theater like this. And you can see the arch to go down into it. And there's a way in there, we'll go there here in a second, see from the inside. Right here is the old road. So you can see they had the blocks and the pavers down, and then up there you see those 2 granite blocks sticking up. Those were speed bumps back in the day. This was wide enough to have 2 carts going side by side. Yeah, so the speed bumps are right here, and this would have just winded around down out through the town. And it went to a nearby town, another Roman town nearby. That's modern day Medellin, I think is what it is. So this is the outer wall here. It's in pretty poor condition. You can see the concrete and the rocks that they used. But the concrete is still holding up after all these centuries. All right, and how cool is this? So if you watch Gladiator and you come here, you could run around and say, "Are you not entertained?" Throw your sword or whatever. This is fantastic, and you can see the seating and everything. Then they had all the arches and more box seating up top here. Yeah, this is a really nice site. Yeah, so they used the concrete, they mixed it with lime. They used the concrete blocks. They also used the natural slope of the land to where they could do as little work as possible. They were really ingenious about things. And the Roman concrete is fantastic because it still holds up today while modern concrete disintegrates. 20 years later, your roads are falling apart, but this is 1,800, 1,900 years old. And they brought in the big boulders, also the big rocks. Yeah, this is spectacular. Yeah, so this arena here is 64.5 meters long and 41.2 meters wide. And that would have been covered. And that's where the gladiator combatants would have happened, right there where it's covered. And there would have been a referee here. And they usually would have fought like in the afternoon. And the referee had a staff, if needed. He would whack the combatants to make sure that all the rules were followed. And then the crowd would be cheering, kill him, pardon him, or whatever, depending on the fickles of the crowd, I guess. And you can see the arch here still holding up. So they use brick, they use these pieces of granite. You can see where they notched them to make them beautiful. And that concrete. So their building material was very good. All right, so this is the way people would have came in here to take their seat. This is so much fun to see. So we'll be able to circle around and we'll go into where the arena is at. And then this would have went, looks like up to maybe an upper platform here. And so this goes up to the second level. So the slaves and the lower class people would sit up high, and the rich people would be down low, close to the action. And this was built under the reign of Augustus. So 25 BC, when they founded the city, he was, I think, emperor like 10 BC, something like that. So 2,000 years ago is when this was constructed. Right here would have been one of the entry gates that would have brought you in. So there was 3 monumental gates that were surrounding this amphitheater. So the VIPs and dignitaries and everybody would come through them. All right, so let's go down into the arena now. Yeah, so it came down and went up to various levels. Yeah, this is really, really amazing. So 16 euros. I would pay that again just to come and see this, or 13 euros for here. This building itself is worth that. Check this out. There's these little tiny rooms down here. So this is maybe where the animals and stuff were stored or held. And the gladiators may be waiting over here to come out into the arena. Now, Augustus banned death in the arenas, but some of the other emperors lifted that ban. It was more for show. They wanted to see speed and agility, but they also wanted to see the blood and the guts, I guess. And so this is it. So you'd have had the screaming crowd up here and the sands of the arena. Just a really, really amazing place. And this is the pit down below. You can see some of the rubble is kind of fallen in there. So they started excavating this in like the 1880s. And there's some elements of it that they don't quite know what it was used for. This is really a cool place to come and visit, though. It's not as grand as the Colosseum in Rome, but nothing is. It's the biggest and the best. but this is a nice little substitute for it. Okay, so let's walk over to the next part of this little ruin here. It's gonna be hard to top this. This is pretty fantastic. And this is one of the 3 gates that come in. Just really unbelievable here. All right, so the next part here, the amphitheater. And look at that up there. Oh, those marble columns. And we'll walk around it and then we'll go down into it. Oh, this is fantastic. So the arena is right here, and then the amphitheater is right next to it. So this would have been an unbelievable area. You can see the little tunnels down there, and it has the place for the oil lamps. And then a tunnel to go down into the theater. You can see all the brickwork here. Had the upper level. And you can see how they did that concrete and the like river rock and stuff like that for the upper levels. All right, so let's go down into the tunnel. You can see they used the granite and then the rock and concrete. This is quite dark in here. I don't know if it'll come out on the camera. And so there would have been places for lamps and stuff like that probably through here. But here we go. And this is fantastic. Holy cow, this is cool. So they're setting up, so they still use this for modern concerts and stuff like that. I bet the acoustics in here would be unbelievable. So you can see all the seating. To give you an idea, it would have had the statues up across there and on the bottom, important political figures and everything else. So they'd have used this for plays, music, for council meetings, people wanting to get elected for some position, plus like funeral rites, important events that would have happened. And this would have been covered. They would have had like a tarp that would have been able to pull over the top of it, and it would have been amazing. All the VIPs would have sat kind of around that ring where those guys are at, and then the rest of the people would have been back behind here. Yeah, so the level of preservation of these columns and everything is pretty good. The back wall is missing over there on that second level, but what you see is really in amazing shape. Yeah, so they had seating all up there. All right, so we'll take one more look here, and then we'll go over to our next site here in this amazing place. Yeah, really cool. So they had that stone and rock core, and then they decorated it with all of these. So it just shows you the wealth of the Roman Empire. This was kind of a far-flung province. I mean, it was an important province, but it was still far from the center of Rome, and they still had luxuries like this. They're actually doing a little bit of digging here to see. So still active archaeological site right here amongst where you can explore. This is absolutely fantastic right here. So this is the Roman letters. This is talking Agrippa, and he was the one that was instrumental in founding this city. He was the son-in-law of Augustus, but he was also like the most important general for the young Caesar whenever he took over, the young emperor. And it's inscribed right above the door, and you can still see that. And it would have been painted red at one time. So they have another room over here with some mosaics, and you can see a little bit of the murals up on the wall. And of course, over the centuries, people have came and carved their initials and stuff like that in them. Oh, just absolutely priceless. And they come over here and hack VVT or something like that into it. And they had all these little buildings and stuff back behind here. You see little arches, and it had columns, everything here. So you have the amphitheater here, all the other little auxiliary buildings, and it's still being excavated. So there's a whole bunch more. You never know what the treasures are going to be underneath that dirt. And then over there is the arena. So the road would have came in here, and it would have led you right to the back of the amphitheater, and you would have been able to go around it, and it would have had a little park here. That's unbelievably nice. Oh, just beautiful. Yeah, you can see they've restored some of the columns over there. Ah, just a magnificent place. And then just walking through town, you have this old temple here. This was for Jupiter, and this was near two major intersections, so they had this humongous little temple here. It's just as you're walking along these little narrow roads here. Okay, let's keep going to the Temple of Diana. Yeah, this is such a cool little town. And they have like a little tram that you can get on if you don't want to walk, to take you between the ruins also. And here we are at this amazing little ruin. Oh, really, really cool. So the column tops are a little bit different. They're not as ornate as normal. The Romans like that Corinthian style. Well, up here it's kind of Corinthian. It's not Ionic or anything like the Greek columns, but it's a bit different. So this was actually the center of the town right here. Public meetings plus religious activity would be held here. And this was founded during the reign of Augustus, but it was remodeled in the 1st century. Yeah, this is fantastic. It just absolutely dominates the center part here. These humongous granite columns. And there would have been more all around here. Like I said, this was the center of the town. So this would have had ponds around it and the baths. And you can go up into here. This is part of the ticket. It's €3 to go into here. This is when you see most everything out front. It does have like a little museum and stuff here. You can see the part where the columns have collapsed down back behind. Yeah, the €3 just gives you access to a little bit of the museum. And you see most of this from the front. So if you didn't have the ticket, you could skip this one. It's still pretty cool. But yeah, with the ticket though, you can come up here on the 2nd floor. That sun's right there above the arch. You can see the town all around. Yeah, really an amazing place. You see what's left of the plaster work and everything. And then the seal up top. So this has probably been added in later on over the centuries. Okay, there's one more thing I want to see here. That's 800 meters away. That'll be the last thing we look at here in the video. So on our way, we see this little plaza. Look at all these old buildings. 1897 over there. And then we have an old whitewashed church. Yeah, really, really beautiful. And you can see right out here all the old fortifications. There's supposed to be a statue of Augustus here somewhere. I'm not seeing it, but we do have some animal up here suckling. All right, so this is the last thing we will be looking at in the video. This is an old Roman bridge. It's 762 meters, I think. It's the Puente Romano, the Roman bridge. And it's in two parts. There's like a little island out there in the middle. And then right here by the bridge is the Alcabaz. And this is part of the tickets. We'll look at it later, but I'm not going to put that in the video. It's part of the places you can visit for the ticket. And a lot of the rubble a lot of the pieces of these buildings they took apart and they put over there and they incorporated it into that. And that was for the Moors. Yeah, really, really cool. And they say the river swells up to 4 meters during the rainy season. And then there is the Alcabaz. And they built a little ramp over here that leads over to this little island. You can see the bridge keeps going up that way. So in the old days, they could have came over here and done things on this island. But this is what I wanted to see, the view right here. Oh, that is fantastic. And then the Alcabaz over there. Yeah, so they've redone this bridge a few times. But it's amazing that actually there is a bridge over this river back in like 460 BC. And then the Romans built what you see now, and then it's been restored and renovated since then. Finish up our video over here at this old Roman city. This is absolutely amazing. This is one of the things I was looking forward to the most on this trip. I really like old Roman stuff, and I got to see it today. So hopefully the video isn't going to be 2 hours long. I'll try to edit it down, and but there was so much to see, so I apologize right now for it being this long. If you've stuck it out all the way through here, I appreciate it. And anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, stick around, you get to see more stuff like this. And leave me a comment, tell me what you think. If you have any questions or comments, or if you've been here, let me know. I would like to know what your thoughts are of this town. You get to see all these old Roman buildings, this Roman bridge. It doesn't get much better for me. But anyway, from over here in Spain, remember, life is a journey. Until next time, enjoy.